Hi, fellow book lovers. Welcome back to Nick's Reading Corner. Today, I would like to discuss with all of you, let's see, the Powder Mage Trilogy by Brian McClellan. And it starts out with the Crimson. Well, no, I apologize. Not the Crimson Campaign. That's the third book. It starts out with A Promise of Blood. And let me see if I can get a better photo right there. There you go. And then book two, I apologize, it is the Crimson Campaign is book two. And then book three of this series is the Autumn Republic. This is a fantasy series set in the during an industrial revolution. So you have gunpowder rifles, flintlock rifles, flintlock pistols, and the like. I don't recall encountering any sort of steam power, but one would assume if this is the Industrial Revolution that steam power is there as well. And I just noticed that the lighting is kind of bad, so I apologize for that. Okay, so anyway, like I said, fantasy series set in the during the industrial revolution, and the story follows. Just kind of looking at my notes here, it starts out with a coup of the king by a small group of rebels. And it's led by Field Marshal Tomas. He's the military leader of the nation that we're following in this story, and the nation is called Adro. Adro, I believe, is called Adro, and the capital is Adopest. Adopest. Adopest, and you have several different types of magic users. You have what's called what is it? Powder mages. Pardon me here. It's called powder mages, and that's what Field Marshal Tomas is. So basically, their power is they're able to ingest either through mouth, through taking it orally or smelling it. They're able to ingest gunpowder. So I mean, all the gunpowder smoke, or through just eating directly gunpowder, and they have an enhanced abilities such as better eyesight, hearing, smell, greater strength, and so on. They're also able to control the path of their bullets once they fire their muskets or their flintlocks. And it's very interesting. So you have kind of a core group of our heroes that we follow. The first one is Field Marshal Tomas, and you follow him through him trying to restabilize the country, Adro, and trying to take over everything, trying to institute a republic, which is really cool. And then our second character, the character that we're introduced with in the very beginning of the book, of book one, Promise of Blood, is Investigator Adamat. Adamat? Adamat. Adamat. He's a retired constable of the city in Adopest, and he's called into and he's called by Tomas to investigate a mystery that was revealed during the coup. And let me back up here real quick. So I neglected to describe the other two types of magic users in this series. I apologize for that. So you got the powder mages, and then you also have your typical mages, and they're in basically covens, cabals, I should say, not covens, cabals. And each nation has these cabals, and these mages have to use gloves. They have to wear these special gloves with glyphs written all over the gloves in order to access their magic. And they do all these fancy hand gestures, and yeah, so it's really interesting. And apparently they have to wear these gloves because if they touched the source of their magic, these mages, then they would be burned away. And then yeah, so really cool. Then lastly, you have what's called the Nact. So these people all have, you know, a special ability, whether it be what is it, a perfect memory, or the ability to tell if someone's lying, or you know, the ability to track things, stuff like that. It's very, very cool, really great dynamics, and all three types of magic users are able to sense whether or not they're what is it? It's just that these magic users are able to detect other magic users, all three types. So the powder mages, the cabal members, mages, and the Nact, they're all able to detect these magic users to varying degrees. So anyway, okay, so we've already briefly touched on Field Marshal Thomas, the ringleader of the entire coup to overthrow the king and the ruling class, the nobility. Then you have Investigator Adamat. Well, let me back up. Field Marshal Thomas is a powder mage. Okay, and then, okay, so back forward. Investigator Adamat, he's a Nact. So he has picture perfect memory or recall. So he's able to remember everything that he encounters. And he is called by Field Marshal Thomas to investigate, like I said earlier, a mystery that was discovered when the royalty were overthrown. And then our third major character is Taniel. I pronounce it Tanel. Taniel. Tanel. Tanel is the son of Field Marshal Thomas, and his partner is the quote unquote savage. Well, what everyone in Adro call a savage. His partner's named Pole, call it Pole, and she has some mystical powers that isn't really delved too deeply in the books. You know, it's kind of a mystery what her powers are, and so we follow these characters. And there's another character here. So I'm constantly referring to my notes here. So there's another minor character. There's multiple minor characters. So the other minor character of note is Valora, and she's another powder mage, just like Taniel. Taniel is a powder mage as well, and Field Marshal Thomas. And she was a previous love interest of Taniel. And yeah, so that's another interesting dynamic in the story itself. So this is a really, really, truly great series, very unique. And there's, so I'm just referring to my notes here. So our heroes, Thomas, Tanel, and Adamat, and surrounding cast have to fight to stabilize Adro. And then there's also outside forces that are threatening Adro, and they're trying to stave off these outside forces. Let me see. Oh, the Kez. They're the big rival of Adro, and the Kez are starting to encroach. They're starting to. They can smell blood. The Kez can smell blood, so they're wanting to take over Adro. So they're the dynamics are quite good. The character development excellent from start to finish in these books, from start to finish. I mean, you see some great character work, and it wasn't flawless. I mean, my two biggest complaints were that Tenel, who's also a military officer under Field Marshal Tomas, and like I mentioned earlier, a powder mage. Tenel and Valora had that love interest. They were engaged, and then the engagement was called off because of some infidelity on Valora's part. And I would have loved to see more. Yeah, you don't really get much of that dynamic between the two until near the end of the book, until the end of the trilogy, I should say, in the Autumn Republic. So you really don't get to see a whole lot of them interacting. They're both kind of in separate areas for the majority of the story. So I would have liked to see more of that dynamic, of them trying to work out their differences. And I would have loved to see Valora fleshed out a little bit more. I mean, it was more of a broad paintbrush sort of character with Valora, and I would have liked to see more of her. I would have liked to see her evolve more than what she did in the books. She evolved a little bit, but we really don't get to have any scenes with her very often. And the other character that I would have liked to see more of was Poel. What is it? Tenel's partner. She's like from a kind of like this, not nearly as advanced area, not nearly as advanced nation as Adro. So she's considered a savage, like I mentioned before, by many in Adro. And I would have loved to have more interaction with her as well. You know, she definitely grew, she definitely developed, but it was more of a kind of, she was there more than anything else, and she was able to pull everyone's bacon out of the fire, so to speak. You know, she was really cool and super powerful and all that, and like you know, she really kicked butt. But yeah, we really don't get to see a whole lot from her. She's mute, if I'm not mistaken, too. So that's an interesting dynamic. Now, I like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed this book, this series, this trilogy, and I would have also, you know, it was the character development, the action, it just seemed like a real place, like a real place, like a real world. But I understand why it was kind of contained in Adro. You know, you didn't really get to explore kind of the wider world because we were confined to Adro, because this story was all about, you know, freeing Adro from the evil people, from the evil nobility in that country. So we get brief glimpses besides the Kez. We get brief glimpses of the wider world, but we really don't get. You get a taste of it to kind of whet your appetite, but you don't get nearly as much as I would have personally liked. But I understand that there's already 3 other books set in this series. Now, like I said, I enjoy these books, but because, you know, I would have liked to see more of Kai Pole and Valora and some of these other side characters. I would have loved to really sink my teeth into these guys. So this is a, so I have to say that this is a strong 4 out of 5. One being, so on my scale is 1 being absolutely terrible, wretched, worst book I've ever read. 5 being near perfection, or perfection. So 4 is a good, strong book. So I would say that this book is definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. Have any of you read these books, this trilogy? If so, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And I hope to have some more reviews out here, some more discussions, I should say, about these books, about some other books that I've read recently. But like I said, very strong series, very action-packed. Yeah, so, well, I guess to touch on the magic a little bit more, it's more of a, you know, you have your hard magic and then you have your soft magic. I'd say it's more in between. It's not hard, but it's not soft either. It's kind of that you know, you got fairly decently defined rules, and yeah. So okay, yeah. So I'm just kind of fumbling around right now. So let me know what you think. Leave some comments, and we can discuss further what we enjoyed, what we didn't enjoy on this series. Well, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.